Hello everyone. In the last lecture, we have seen the judiciary, why there is a need for single integrated judiciary. We understand the Supreme Court, its composition, qualification for appointment as a judge for Supreme Court, his appointment of ad hoc judges, and term of office. Now, today let us discuss independence of judiciary from the control of executive and legislature. So here we will understand how the judiciary system is independent system. Independence of judiciary is ensured by the following devices. First is appointment of judges. Every judge of the Supreme Court is appointed by the President after consultation with the Cabinet as well as the judges of Supreme Court and High Court. Thus the judiciary and the executives are involved in the appointment of judges. So here appointment of judges. Okay, we see that President of India, he appoints the judge, but for appointment of judge, he consult with the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court as well as Council of Ministers. So both executive and judiciary, they are involved in the appointment of judges. Second is removal of judges. The judges can be removed from office by any authority through a normal simple procedure. A judge can be removed by the President only for proved misbehavior and incapacity. So judges cannot be removed, okay, like any other officer. Okay, you have to put your resignation. It is not like that. Judge can be removed. Yes, he can be removed by President, but for that he have to follow certain procedure, and he can remove only if it was proved that he is misbehaving or he is not working correctly. So that is, if he can be removed only for proved misbehavior and incapacity. This charge need to be proved only by joint address by both houses of parliament and is supported by 2/3 majority of members present and voting. The word proved is very important. It means that an address can only be presented after an allegation has been thoroughly examined by some important tribunal. Now this tribunal is again a court. So if it was thoroughly examined by a court that okay, a particular judge is not working or he is misbehaving or he is working incapacity, then if a tribunal has already judged this thing, then President can put this matter in both the houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and there if it is passed by 2/3 of the majority, then that particular judge can be removed from his seat. So removal of judges is not that easy. Third point is security of tenure. A judge can remain in office till he has attained the age of 65 years. He can be removed by the President on ground of proved misbehavior or incapacity. So judge can remain on his position till he attains 65 years of age, or he can be removed by President only on the ground of proved misbehavior and incapacity. Security of salaries and services conditions. Security of salaries and service conditions. So judges' salaries, allowances, etc. shall not be changed to their disadvantage during their term of office. So till a person is a judge of Supreme Court, his salary cannot be changed to their disadvantage. Means they will get proper salary, and there is increment in salary also as and when needed. The salaries of the judges cannot be reduced except during the period of financial emergency. So in case there is any financial emergency, in that situation only the salaries of judges can be reduced, otherwise the salaries of the judges cannot be reduced. their salaries and allowances are charged on the consolidated fund of India and so are not subjected to vote of parliament. So from where they are getting salaries? So they are getting salaries from consolidated fund of India. Now consolidated fund of India means the total revenue which India is collecting during the year. Next point is freedom to announce decisions and decrees. The judges are free to announce their decisions and decrees. Decrees again, it is a judgment only. So judges are free to announce their decisions and decrees in the court chamber without any danger to their person, property or fame. Their decisions cannot be criticized in the public or by the press. So the decision which is given by judge, it cannot be criticized by public. Public cannot say against to the judgment given by the judge. It is the duty of the state to ensure their personal safety at all cost. So state government, it is the responsibility of state government that it ensure that there is a personal safety at all cost. Means whatever judgment a judge gives, there should not be any threat to him. No discussion in the legislation on the conduct of judges. No discussions can be taken place in the parliament regarding the conduct of any judge or about the discharge of his duties except when there is a motion for his removal. So we have seen that president can remove any judge, and for that he has to take the joint session of both the houses. So in that house only there will be a discussion about the judgment given by a judge. Otherwise never there is any discussion in the parliament regarding the judgment given by a judge. No discussion in the legislature on the conduct of judges. No discussions can be taken place in the parliament regarding the conduct of any judge or about the discharge of his duties except when there is a motion for his removal. Okay, so we have seen that when the president removes a particular judge, then in that situation only there is a discussion in both the houses regarding the judgments given by judges. Otherwise in parliament there is never any discussion regarding the judgment given by a judge. Now let us see whether we have seen this 6 and 7 point. Punishment for contempt of court. Okay, if any person or any, we can say that organization tries to lower the authority of a Supreme Court, then Supreme Court considered it as contempt of court and can punish. And full control over the procedure of work means here the Supreme Court decides that how he has to work. Okay, how his establishment has to work, how his employees are going to work. Okay, so there is full control over its procedure of work and establishment. And last point is prohibition of practice after the retirement. So once a judge retires from his position, then he cannot practice. The judges are paid handsome pensions, but they are not allowed to practice after their retirement. This has been done so that the judges are not obliged during their tenure as judges to any prospective employer. Moreover, if they are allowed to practice, they might influence their former colleagues in the judiciary. So judges, they are not allowed to do practice after their retirement. Why? Because if they are allowed to do practice, then what happens? It could influence their decisions, right? How? So suppose if a judge, he is about to retire, then if he thinks that okay, after retirement then I should work with this person, so if there is any case related to that person, then in that case it may possible that he will give some misleading judgment. So all these points, they suggest that the judiciary system is an independent system. Okay, let us discuss the jurisdiction and powers of the Supreme Court. Jurisdiction is the power that a court of law exercises to carry out judgment and enforce law. What is jurisdiction? Jurisdiction is the power that a court of law exercises to carry out the judgment and enforces law. The Supreme Court is the protector and the final interpreter of the Constitution. It has both original and appellate jurisdiction as well as advisory jurisdiction. So here we will see what we mean by original jurisdiction, what we mean by advisory jurisdiction, as well as what is appellate jurisdiction. Let us first discuss what we mean by original jurisdiction. Original jurisdiction means the power to hear and determine a dispute in the first instance. That is, those cases which cannot be moved in any court other than the Supreme Court. That is, these are the cases which directly come in Supreme Court. So here first is center state or inter-states dispute. The Supreme Court has been given exclusive original jurisdiction in any dispute between Government of India and one or more states. So if there is any dispute between Government of India and one or more states, then that case is directly referred to Supreme Court. Second, between Government of India and any state, suppose one party is Government of India and any state or states on one side and one or more state on the other side, or there is a dispute between two or more states. So whenever states and central government are involved in any dispute, then that dispute is directly come in Supreme Court. Now there are few exceptions. This jurisdiction shall not extend to a dispute arising out of treaty, agreement, etc., which is in operation. So if there is a dispute because of some treaty or agreement, then that case will not come to Supreme Court. Second, in certain other matters such as interstate water dispute, matter referred to the Finance Commission and so on. So if there is any dispute related with water, so that will not directly come to Supreme Court. And third, adjustment of certain expenses and pensions between union and the state. If there is adjustment of certain expenses, then that case will not directly come to Supreme Court. Second type of case is protection of fundamental rights. The original jurisdiction also extend to the cases of violation of the fundamental rights of individuals, and the court can issue several writs for the enforcement of these rights. Any individual can approach the Supreme Court in case of violation of the fundamental right. So if the case involves the fundamental rights of a person, then that case can directly refer to Supreme Court. Third type of case is transfer of cases from lower court. Under Article 139A, inserted by 44th Amendment in 1978, the Supreme Court may transfer to itself cases from one or more High Court if these involves questions of law or cases are of great importance. So if Supreme Court find that there is a case of a great importance, then Supreme Court can directly hear the case. Okay, he will not he will directly transfer that case from any of the High Court. The Supreme Court may transfer cases from one High Court to another in the interest of justice. And sometimes it may happen that Supreme Court feel that a particular case should be held in so and so state, then in that case he can transfer the case from one state to another state also. Now fourth is interpretation of constitutions. All the cases where the interpretation of constitution is required can be directly filed in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has the power of exclusive jurisdiction in regard to the questions as to constitutional validity of central laws. So if any case which involves the interpretation of constitution, then that case can be directly referred to the Supreme Court. Now let us understand appellate jurisdiction. Appellate jurisdiction means the power to grant special leave to appeal against the judgment delivered by any court in the country. So if any court has already given his judgment, then a person who is not satisfied by the judgment can appeal to the Supreme Court. This is appellate jurisdiction. It is the court of appeal, which means that it is a court which may change the decision or reduce the sentence passed by the lower court. So when you appeal in Supreme Court against the judgment given by any of the judge, then in that case Supreme Court can either lower the sentence passed by lower court, reduce the sentence passed by lower court, or he can change the decision of the lower court. An appeal lies to the Supreme Court from any judgment or final order of a high court in India. The appellate jurisdiction extends to constitutional, civil and criminal cases. So in which type of cases you can apply to Supreme Court? You can appeal to Supreme Court. So cases related with constitutions or civil or criminal. First, let us see the constitutional cases. All the matter, irrespective of nature, where a certificate is issued by the High Court that it involves an important point of law and a need interpretation of the constitutions, can be brought before the Supreme Court. If the High Court refuses to give a certificate on such a case, the Supreme Court can grant a special leave of appeal. Okay, so in some cases High Court give a judgment and also he issues a certificate that the person can appeal to the Supreme Court, because here interpretation of constitution is involved, then in that case the person can appeal to the Supreme Court. This is constitutional case. Second is civil cases. Appeals in the civil matter lies to the Supreme Court if the High Court certifies that the cases involve a substantial question of law of general importance and that the question need to be decided by the Supreme Court. So if High Court certifies that the case already involves some questions of general importance and question need to be decided by Supreme Court, then in that case he can refer the same case to Supreme Court, or then he can give a chance to appeal to the Supreme Court. However, if the High Court refuses to give a certificate, the Supreme Court can grant a special leave to appeal in the Supreme Court. However, if High Court does not give such kind of certificate, then also Supreme Court can grant a special leave to appeal in these kind of cases. Next is criminal cases. Two types of appeal in the criminal cases lies in the Supreme Court. First, cases without the certificate of High Court and cases with the certificate of High Court. The certificate of High Court is not required in a case where the High Court has reserved the judgment of acquittal given by the lower court and punished the accused with a death sentence. So suppose what happened that the judge of High Court, he has given a punishment of death sentence. Okay, he has taken case from lower court. There the punishment was not of the death sentence, but in High Court he has given the punishment of death sentence. Then that case can be referred to Supreme Court. And second, a case which is withdrawn by High Court from a subordinate court and sentenced the accused to death. And in some cases it may happen that High Court, he has withdrawn a particular case from the subordinate court and after hearing he has given death sentence, then that case can also be referred to Supreme Court. In all other criminal cases, a High Court certification that the case involves a substantial point of law and interpretation of constitution is required for appealing to the Supreme Court. Apart from these two cases, in any other case, if the person wanted to apply in Supreme Court, then he has to get a certificate from High Court. If he is not getting certificate from High Court, then in that case he cannot apply. So let us see what different topics we have seen today. One is independence of jurisdiction. We understood that how the judiciary system is independent. In this we discussed about the appointment of judges, removal of judges, security of tenure, security of salaries and services conditions, freedom to announce decisions and decrees, punishment for contempt of court, full control over its procedure of work and establishment, no discussion in legislature on the conduct of judges. So all these points, their discussion indicated that the court, they are independent in their functioning. Also there are few points like prohibition of practice after retirement. Okay. Next we have seen jurisdiction and the power of the Supreme Court. In which areas Supreme Court can give his judgment. So we understood what jurisdiction mean. Two areas we have seen: original jurisdiction and appellate jurisdiction. In original jurisdiction, we understood that cases related with center state or interstate disputes, cases related with protection of fundamental right, cases related with transfer of cases from lower court, interpretation of constitution. So these are all the cases where they are directly referred to the Supreme Court, where there is original jurisdiction. And we have seen appellate jurisdiction. So appellate jurisdiction means it is already applied, it is already fought between the parties in lower court or high court, and then it is appealed to the Supreme Court. So what are the cases that will come under this? First is constitutional cases, where constitutional interpretation is required. Civil cases, criminal cases, all are the cases which are under appellate jurisdiction. In our next class, we will understand about the functions of Supreme Court. Thank you.